So, this is my recording for Ammo Crisis. When designing my stage for Ammo Crisis, I decided to go with a two-stage approach, kind of split it into two pathways, purely because I felt like the corridor-based style of like Doom doesn't isn't really what I wanted to lend myself to. I wanted to do something a little bit unique. So I did something simplistic though still. The left side has less rooms to deal with, but more spawners to deal with per room, while the right side has more rooms to deal with, but less spawners per room. Both come out to the same spawn level. I use spawner level as my constant purely because um, you can't exactly do health unless you don't use spawners at all, purely because spawners are usually pretty strong, and I didn't want to have them be an incredible tank, making it very hard for players to destroy them because it would make more enemies spawn. Um, Alongside that fact, spawners can spawn any amount of enemies. It's kind of hard to scale your difficulty based off of a spawner purely because of the fact that if the spawner isn't destroyed quickly, then there's going to just be more enemies in that run. So instead, I based it off a spawn level. That way, then it has at least a decent constant, and based on how fast the spawner is destroyed, is how difficult the stage is probably going to be for the player. When you spawn in, you start with the pistol and the auto rifle. The auto rifle, it's simple. It's got more range than the pistol. It does half the damage of the pistol with 5 damage, but it fires faster, so it actually equals more damage overall. It only has 2 reserve mags as well, so this is kind of like a decent weapon overall. But I find that the pistol, excuse me, is probably something that I'd use more for dispatching enemies. Has 5 clips in total, 4 in reserve, 1 immediately, and does 10 damage, which is enough to kind of dispatch like workforce enemies here. Um, the idea that I wanted was the pistol to be like a weapon that you can always rely on, while the auto rifle is just kind of the medium of them. So like you probably use the auto rifle quite a lot. I'm going to take the shotgun here though. I'm also going to do the right route first. So this shotgun, it it's got the least amount of range. It's got very short range, less than even the pistol. It shoots 10 bullets, each doing 5 damage, and it has 2 mags in the reserve. Um, I do have a weapon which has less than 2 mags in the reserve, but I tried to keep the constant of 2 mags in reserve purely because of the fact that it kind of keeps a nice constant for the player. They kind of know that every weapon's going to have a certain amount of ammo in reserves. Um, so might as well get on to what I've statted up for these enemies. For the archers, I decided to give the archers 75 health. They're the middle ground. They move slightly faster than zombies, and they also have a little bit more health than goblins. Um, I wanted to have like that medium ground just for the archers, just because they're more support units anyway. They're not really the ones that push in hard. The ones that push in hard are the goblins. They only have 50 health. In this for me. But they have a very fast movement speed. Such a movement speed, in fact, that you really can't outmove them unless you shoot them to kind of lower the movement speed in the first place. As for the zombies, these guys have 100 health, but they are the slowest out of every unit. It might not seem like it, but that's because the archers kind of move sideways. They don't exactly try to run towards the player constantly. Now, this middle room that I've walked into, I decided to use this middle room as kind of a way for the player to decide if they wanted to stick on the route they're on or if they wanted to swap over to the other side. Also in the middle room is the only spawn of a certain gun, the BFG. It has only 3 bullets, does enough damage to one-shot everything, including spawners and zombies, which spawners only have 50 health, so kind of makes sense. Um, and it's a large explosion, but you only get 3 bullets, and it takes quite a while to reload. It's kind of more of a panic button than anything. You see here, I have to go and get some more ammo. I'm not doing too well this run. I've done a couple of practice runs before, and generally, you're able to get through that without running out of ammo. I'm just doing bad this run. Um, so, in this room is the final weapon. Just to my left here, it is the sniper. There isn't a sniper model, so I just went with a simple energy gun. The sniper does enough damage to one-shot anything as well. But you only have 2 mags of reserves with it. I'm actually going to use the BFG here, just to clear this out. It does 150 damage, which is more than anything, just to make sure and make certain that it was going to one-shot whatever it shot at. It's got a pretty long reload time though. It's got a decently slow fire rate, but it has got the most range as well. You could definitely snipe out some spawners here. My usual strategy is to grab that sniper there and then use it for this room to clear it out. Mainly because also, as you see there, we've got another sniper rifle drop. This is the only route with a sniper rifle. The other route is more focused on shotguns. Um, Purely because it's closer rooms for that room. So, for the left side, sorry. So the sniper ends up being less useful. This is the final room before the final room, properly. This last room over here, both routes actually have to go through. So it's the hardest room of them all, with 3 spawners at the back, 1 of each enemy type. So what I usually do is throw the nuke in the middle there, though. If you keep the nuke till the end, it kind of trivializes this part, but that's what I wanted. I wanted a rewarding route for the player, where they could easily trivialize that part if they were smart with their ammo consumption. After beating that room, you just go to this door, open it up, and then you hit the final door and beat the level. Now, the other route. Obviously, you start with the same guns when you respawn. On the left side, I decided, like I said, to focus more on enemy density. I did have an issue with this first room because of that, though. In the first room, there were 2 zombie spawners. But what I found was that the zombies would just spawn way too fast, and you'd usually have to deal with a massive horde. You don't exactly have the ammo to do that immediately. So, what I did was I made it so that these spawners specifically take 10 seconds to respawn enemies. Because if it takes less time, you're going to have longer to destroy the spawners, longer to focus up. And I mean, this is the first room. It's supposed to be the least difficult room. So as you see here, yeah, it's taken a lot of my ammo out. But thankfully, I've still got an auto rifle and a shotgun in this room to take. So I'm going to swap my auto for my auto, and I'm going to swap my pistol for my shotgun, just like on the last room. There, like I said though, no snipers on this route. So I would arguably say this is probably the harder route. Going through here, I'm actually not going to take the BFG for this run. I've tested as well with this. You can beat both of the routes without going for the BFG. I wanted to make sure that was possible because not every player is going to just immediately grab the OP gun and go bang. Or at least use the ammo well. So, to minimize that being an issue, I decided to focus on the possibility of the player messing up with that gun. Ooh, this is looking bad. I have to reload. That's awkward. There we go. Take out a couple of the zombies. Good thing there's a lot of ammo in this room right now. This is kind of a hoardy sort of room. There's a lot of enemies that are just going to be running at me. I've got to avoid a lot of these projectiles from the archers. Thankfully, they don't take me out, so it's not too hard to avoid them. It'll only slow me down if I do get touched by them. But it definitely makes me slower than the zombies, so I need to make sure that I don't get hit by a projectile. Let's continue to whittle these guys down. Takes a little bit, takes quite a while sometimes to take down these guys, but that's just more so the toughness of these 2 enemies put together, especially the zombies as well. The spawners spawn zombies in quite large quantities, and usually they end up densing together like this. I feel like that's more of an issue with the framework than specifically something I can do about it, unless I was to manually put down enemies. But I wanted to kind of have the spawners be VIP points, so I didn't really see a point in changing that. So for this route, as we go through this door here, it takes you back out to the same area. So on this side now, got to take out these spawners. Now that we don't have the BFG, we can't just simply blow up each spawner, so I'm going to focus on the zombie one first. Then I'm going to try and get the goblin one, as the goblin one is probably the next most annoying. Ah, and the goblin got me. It's definitely doable though. I will pause for a bit, and when I get back to there, I'll show you the complete attempt. Okay, I'm ready to give this section another go. So, there is something that we could have done here. If we want to, or, you know, if the player wants to, sorry. They could go back and do the BFG section if they really did want to, or even use the BFG section to go to the other side and grab a sniper beforehand. I'm going to stick to this just purely because I want to prove that it's possible with just this side's guns, not needing the sniper or the BFG. But, you know, it's an option for the player. The aim was to have the most options I could. I wanted to make, like I say, with the route thing, I wanted to just make it so, like, you know, you could do whatever route you feel like. Instead of forcing the player to, ooh, I'm in a hairy situation. Ooh. Oh. There we go. Oh, that's a lot of zombies. Uh-oh. I've left that spawner active for too long. There we go. That's going to be a bit of a horde to get through. But yeah, I wanted to make sure that the player could, you know, do whatever they felt like, really, with the route. They could go with either side, and they would find that maybe this side works better for them, or maybe they prefer the sniper rifle. I also wanted to obviously reward skill with some of the guns, so like the sniper rifle, for example. Oh, missed a shotgun. A little bit iffy with grabbing the items there. Um, so like with the sniper rifle, if they land their shots, they're going to be killing these enemies most of the time. With the shotgun, if they're willing to get close enough, they're going to be taking out the enemies just as well. Simple things like that. Um, for a tier list for the weapons, definitely it's definitely a bit of a shoot up, I feel. I feel like players would anchor towards whatever they prefer to use rather than using what's objectively best. Maybe apart from the BFG, but that's supposed to be the outlier to the situation. Kind of the gun that the players can go, yeah, no, I want to use this gun because it's extremely strong. Um, just kind of inspired like Doom with it. Um, okay. A lot of enemies to get through for this one. I left the spawners alive for too often. They're on my shotgun now. I'm gonna have to go and get it. Come on, zombies. I don't think I'm gonna have enough ammo in that shotgun. Yep. Bit of a soft lock then here, but that's kind of an issue with the framework, I feel. That's fine though, because I mean I can fall back and grab some other guns. Still got other routes that I haven't explored. Oh no, they were all very low. Thank God. There you go. Perfect. Every enemy down. Opening this door here, and then opening the last door there. We have finished the run. So yeah, it's possible to do without the BFG. Definitely harder for the player, and I don't claim to say that you shouldn't use the BFG. I definitely think it's a gun that should be used for this mode. I've kind of scaled it with the idea that it's usable, but it's also not. But overall, I think this went well. I definitely think though that maybe stat spreads could be a little bit different. The auto rifle and the pistol feel very weird to use. They don't feel as strong as the other guns. The shotgun also feels surprisingly weak, but I think that weirdly it kind of lends itself to that. This build for me, it makes it so that the player has to be a lot more tactical with their positioning and their um like ammo economy. I wanted it to kind of be a scramble through the guns at the same time as like picking your routes. Just like, oh no, I've run out of this gun. Let's grab another gun quickly off the floor. Instead of well, I found this gun. It's got loads of ammo. Let's just go, sort of thing. But I think overall, I think I've achieved that to some extent, and I believe that it would be fun for anyone who's just here to pick up and play.